Hi guys and dolls, Divinedivak A here, and I am here to share another installment of my breast cancer journey. So today I'm going to talk about chemo. I was diagnosed with triple negative breast cancer the last week in June. And so I'm going to talk to you today about my first 3 treatments of chemo. It's taken me a while to feel better enough or, feel enough energy or motivation to do videos. So I'm cranking out a bunch of them today because I feel like doing them today. And I never know how I'm going to feel from day to day. So I try to take advantage of the days that I actually feel well enough to do something. So if you're interested in my breast cancer journey, I know when I first was diagnosed, I was looking at a lot of videos on breast cancer journeys and overcomers, and there weren't a lot. There were some, but not a lot of recent ones. So I wanted to make sure that I had something. So in case somebody is interested in something recent, not 7 years old or 5 years old or 3 years old, that if you're just recently diagnosed, I feel for you. I'm just a couple of months ahead of you, and it's a journey that we can go on together. So if that's interesting to you, please comment below. Also hit the subscribe button, because subscribing is free. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you hit the bell, which is next to it, you'll get a notification as to when I upload videos. So I'm going to talk to you about my chemotherapy and how I reacted to chemotherapy. I started the journey off. I was a person who really tried to eat relatively healthy, and I was on a keto. I had lost a lot of weight because I was trying to, get in a better shape. So I was eating a high protein, high fat, low carb diet. And I've always been one who is into nutritional supplements and shakes, protein shakes and things like that, matcha. So I was doing a lot of things. And so for me, I was shocked when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So how could that happen to me? I'm a healthy person. It can happen to anybody. So do your breast exams, please. Make sure you have your mammograms as often as your health provider would allow. Do them. So I had my port put in on a Monday. So I was diagnosed on a Friday, had my port put in on a Monday, and then that Friday I had my first treatment. So, my brother and I went to the infusion center, and we were in a room, it didn't have a door, but it had a curtain, but it was a room. It had 3 walls, TV, and a chair, where you spend hours in that chair. And so the nurse was excellent. The nurse that was there was excellent. A lot of people on this journey have been excellent. I mean, superb. I mean, I've, had medical procedures done before, and these people were outstanding, absolutely outstanding. And I go to 2 different places, and both places are outstanding. So we were there. And so she explained to me what she was going to do and how it was going to work. And so I took, the first thing I got was some steroid pills, which I was like, oh no, now I'm going to blow up like a blimp. And then the next thing they give you is some nausea medication, which I will tell you what that does to you. And I will try to put squeamish alerts. So if you're squeamish, I'm going to be talking very plain about what experience I had, because I think that would be most helpful for people who are watching, not to sugarcoat things. But a nausea medication is supposed to last 5 days, and then the actual drugs that's supposed to kill the cancer, the chemo. And so the port, I didn't put, they give you like a lidocaine or something, cream to put on the port to help numb the skin so that when they put the port in, you don't feel it. Well, I don't know, it's strange. At this particular infusion center, which I've gone to several times, no matter where I put the cream, I still feel the needle. The other one, I never feel the needle, so I don't know if it's the way they put it in or whatever, but squeamish alert, I had the cream on, she put the needle in, but it didn't hurt as much as it could have, put it that way, if there wasn't any cream. But, you take a deep breath, you blow it out, they press it in, and then you're done. That's the extent of the 2 needles or 2 pokes that you get. Sometimes you don't feel that. Sometimes you don't feel that poke, but that time I felt it a little bit, not a lot. So then, that was before she put in the 5 days of anti-nausea. So then the first thing that she puts in is like a red thing, medication medication. Chemo, part of the chemo. But what's very interesting is before she actually gives you the chemo, again, if you don't know your last name and your date of birth in the beginning of this, off the top of your tongue, you know it, because every time, everything, they go over it again and again and again. So they take your blood initially, and then they send that off to the labs to see if you're healthy enough to take the treatment. And then they bring the drugs based on your weight, and I think it's based on just on your weight and what they want to give you that time. And if you're able to take the full dose, you take the full dose. So part of what she has to do for that first medication is that it's toxic. You are toxic. They tell you you're toxic for 2 days. You're toxic. And so what she does, excuse me. What she does is she suits up, and first she asks you, okay, your name again. They give you a band, and they make sure that you and the medication match, and all of that. And then she's smiling and she's talking to you, but as she's smiling and talking to you, she's gowning up, double gloving her hands, putting a mask on her face, and she's still smiling and talking to you. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is some serious drugs that she's poking in me that she don't want to be anywhere near. I mean, there's no needles, so really, she's just screwing it on because it's already been attached. So she's just screwing it on, but she's taking extra precautions that this doesn't come anywhere near her. And so she sits there and she pushes in two long vials of medication. She's pushing in. And while she's talking to me, she's like, okay, just want to give you a heads up. The first couple times after this medication that you go to the bathroom, you are going to see red. And so don't be alarmed. Everything is okay. It's just the medication moving through your body. I'm like, well, thank you for that heads up. I didn't have to go to the bathroom, but thank you for that heads up. And so then she pushes that through, and then the rest of it goes through IV drip. And so that goes on for probably, I think it's like 245 minutes or something like that. So the whole thing took about 3 hours, I would say, 1, 2, 3, yeah, about 3 hours for everything to go through that first time. And so I did have to go to the bathroom during that time. And yes, it was red. And so I'm glad that she did tell me in advance that that would happen, because I wasn't shocked or surprised. So then we went home, and I felt fine. I was a little tired, but I felt fine. Then that Tuesday, that was a Friday. Then the Saturday, I had Friday and Saturday off from work. So that Saturday, it was fine. That Sunday, whoa, baby, that Sunday morning. Okay, squeamish alert. That Sunday morning, constipation. I thought I was trying to pass the Rock of Gibraltar. It was the most painful. I thought I was regular, but that medication is like on steroids. I wasn't nauseous. I just had this, I was just so in so much pain. I couldn't, and finally, when I finally did do what I needed to do, I couldn't sit down. It hurt so much. It hurt right into Monday, and I was off that Monday too, because of the holiday. And then I had a holiday day, and then I had to go to work the next day. And I was still a little bit sore that Tuesday, but I went to work, and I really, that first treatment I was like, oh, okay, if this is what's going on, I'm going to be working the whole time. Not an issue at all. Everything's going well. So I worked as normal, and then I had the second treatment. And the second treatment, you go through it doesn't take as long, and it was nice because two of my friends from another job came and they sat with me, and and then my brother brought me lunch, and because you're there for that a long time. So my brother brought me lunch. I had something to eat, and then the doctor said to me, when she came in to see me, she goes, "Are you still working?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm still working." I mean, from the first one, I was like, "Yeah, I got this. So, and she's like, "Okay, do you feel any swelling in your feet?" No, everything's fine. And so then she goes, "Oh, okay. You're tolerating it very well." I'm like, yeah. I'm like, "This is good." She said, "Well, did you lose your hair?" I'm like, got all my hair, man. Got past that first one. Hair is good. And she goes, "Okay, you will." And I'm like, "Well, I got through this first one, all good. Maybe I'll be that 1% that gets to keep their hair." She goes, "Oh, okay, Kate." So that was a Friday, and the Saturday I was a little tired because I fell asleep on the way home. So I was a little bit more tired on that day, after that treatment day. My brother, dropped me home. We sat and talked for a little bit, and then he left, and then I went, I was sitting in my chair watching television, watching YouTube videos, and I fell asleep a couple times, and when I woke up, it was just kind of like itching. My head was itching a little bit, so I pulled my hand back, and I had a mound of hair, and I was like, "Oh, okay, now it's starting," because that shouldn't happen, never happened before. And then Saturday, the day after that second treatment, my hair was coming out in just balls and balls. And what I'll do is I will insert a picture of the hairball that I got. By the end of Saturday, I would say 97% of my hair came out. I wasn't pulling it out. It just they were just jumping out of the follicles, And that was the hardest part for me. I mean, yes, I was feeling fatigue. I was on it with squeamish alert. I was on it with the constipation thing. That was not happening to me again. I was on it, taking all sorts of stuff to keep things moving, because now I know what could happen on the third day or the fourth day. I was on it. And, but for me, the hardest part of that is that my hair now I looked sick. Before, even if I was sick, I didn't know I was sick. But once the hair fell out, I saw myself as sick, which is hard because you're, trying to keep yourself up. But that was a real low point in my life. I had spent 9 years trying to grow my hair, and I have videos, and I will put them up there. I was on a natural hair journey. I had spent so much time and money trying to grow my natural hair and, getting it to a healthy state, and then to have it come out in gobs, that was just so disheartening. And yes, I know it's going to grow back on the other side, but that's the part that made me feel very, very low. And, people are like, "Oh, yeah, it's going to grow back." But yeah, you have a head of hair. So it's real easy from your position to say, "Don't worry about it. And, it's all going to be okay." From my position, and people, I think I respect it more from now, coming from somebody who's been there where I have been, because I don't know if it's a black thing or not, but my scalp is really, really light, and there's a big difference between my skin and my scalp, and it's disconcerting every time I pass a mirror or even anything that has a reflective surface, because I can tell that I don't have hair. So I have to remind myself, no, you're okay, Kate. You're going to get through this. You're an overcomer. So that was something that I had to get used to. And then the second treatment happened, and then I had a trip to a wedding in Detroit, and it was an excellent time. I had wigs because, okay, I'm going to put my wig videos up there. I have wigs, so it's not like I can't wear a wig. I just don't like the fact that I have to wear a wig. I wore wigs because I liked to, but I didn't have to. And there's a difference. Yes, I can wear wigs. Yes, I know how to wear wigs. That's not the point. I have to wear them now. Or I don't have to, but I feel I have to. So I went to that wedding, and I had a really good time. And I had another cousin that I got a chance to talk to who had gone through brain cancer. And so he gave me a lot of insights. He was asking, well, how, everybody's asking me, how am I doing? And, at that point, again, by the wedding time, I was feeling better, because that was every 2 weeks was my treatment. So the weekend before the next treatment was always, better. He was asking me, how are you? And I'm like, I'm really fine. I still have my energy. I still have my gait. When I was walking around, I was still at the same energy level that I normally am. I was just a little tired after for 3 or 4 days after the treatment. And in fact, I worked 7 days straight so that I could get myself ready for the third treatment. And so, I was working regular shifts, not doing anything different, just doing the job and living my life. And that the cousin that I had talked to who had brain cancer, he goes, okay, Kate, I just want to set you up, get you set up for treatment number 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 are a lot different than 1 and 2. And I see that you are faring very well after 2. So I just want to give you heads up as to what could happen in 3 and 4. And I'll tell you what happened to me in 3 and 4. And it was nice to be able to have somebody tell me that, because when I got treatment number 3, I was falling asleep a lot through treatment number 3 already, because I was very, very healthy outside of the cancer. I was very, very healthy before the chemo came in treatment 1. My body's now a little bit compromised for treatment 2, even though it's 2 weeks for me to build myself back up. I'm a little compromised. Now treatment 3 is taking 3 from number 2 down to number 3. And I was drooling in, treatment number 3. When I got home, I was drooling, I was sleeping. Day 2, I slept most of the day. Day 3, day 2, 1 and 2, because I only had 2 days off. Day 1 and 2, I was sleeping. Day 3, I was supposed to go back to work. And I was like, no, this is not happening. I am not going to work. That's not going to happen. So I had to call in sick. And so then my manager said to me, well, do you think you're going to come in the next day? And I'm like, nope. Because I knew how tired I was in day 2, and I knew that day 3 was going to be better than day 2, but I didn't know how much better, so I knew day 4 was going to be a no-go. And I figured I could, take 2 sick days off. I'm really never sick, so, I have sick days to take. And so, but I was starting to think, well, you know what? If this is going to be what it's going to be like for 3 and subsequent, I don't think I want to go to work anymore. And so I have a very generous leave of absence policy at my job. And so, which was a blessing from God, let me tell you. Because I know I've worked in other places where it's not as generous as it is in the job I'm working now. And so I called them up, I called the doctor, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Because my job requires that, I work like 15,000 steps. I have to be, I have to have quick thinking. I have to just boom, 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 boom. And so I knew that I really couldn't do that to the best of my ability, so I had to take the time off. And so the doctor gave me a leave of absence. And I was very happy they did, because it did take me a good 7 days to get back to an energy level that you see now, which is a little bit more upbeat. I have my moments, but it's a little bit more upbeat. And so I'm currently on a leave of absence, which I'm glad that I have. I don't have any symptoms of swelling, but one of the issues that I have right now are that my nail beds, well, number one, my body is like, my brother says he doesn't see it, but my palms of my hands, I don't know if you can see it. No, it's too much light. The palms of my hands are darkening, and I'm getting spots on my hands. And I do get tired a lot quicker than I normally get tired. I get fatigued. And so one of the things I am doing is trying to stay away from other people, which is hard because, I have a lot of friends who want to come by and spend time with me and see that I'm all right. And I like to thank each and every one of you, any of you who live in my area, who are my friends, who are subscribed to me. I thank you so much, but one of the issues that arises is that your immune system is compromised, which means that you really can't be around people, and especially people who have children, because children are incubators for a lot of germs and such. And right now, since I have kept myself away from a lot of people, I don't really, and I wash my hands. That's one of the things they say, make sure you wash your hands. Hand sanitizer will be your best friend, and I try to keep up with that all the time, that I don't, I haven't been sick, thank you, Jesus, and I don't want to be in a position where I might get sick. So even somebody who's hugging me who doesn't even know that they're sick yet, their immune system's already fighting something that they may have caught, but they haven't really seen the symptoms of. They can transfer that to me without even knowing it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm really kind of staying away from being with people. Let's see, some of the other things. Some of the other things I've talked to, there's one lady who was diagnosed the week after I was diagnosed, and she's on a different cancer journey because she doesn't have triple negative, but she still has breast cancer and she's going through chemo. And one of the things that she had, and one of the things that my doctor was telling me could happen to me, is to have canker sores in your throat. And for me, I'm like, whoa, how do you manage a canker sore in your throat? So one of the things that she was saying in the mouth is that you need to gargle with salt water. So what I do every other day, I gargle with rinse my mouth out with warm, salty water. And every other day I do that, just rinse my mouth out with it. And then the off days, I gargle with hydrogen peroxide. Not the hydrogen peroxide you put on cuts, but you go to the health food store and they have one that is food grade that you can have a mouthwash. So I gargle with that the other day. So I'm trying to keep my mouth as clean as possible. Your mouth's one of the dirtiest places in your body, but I try to keep my mouth as clean as possible and also try to keep it as moist as possible. Drink plenty of water, because that forestalls the constipation issue. Plenty of water, preferably fluids. If not water, try to drink a lot of water. I feel like an old person. I take Metamucil to keep things moving and flowing. Actually, I have started to love prunes. Pop 2 prunes in first thing in the morning. Sometimes one prune before I go to bed. And this third one, I had one day when I didn't feel well, and I don't know if that was when the anti-nausea medication was running out, I don't know, but I felt very, very nauseous, and I felt like the constipation was coming on, but it really didn't come on. I just didn't realize that I hadn't eaten a lot, but for me, I feel that the nausea comes on more when I'm hungry than when I've eaten too much. So that's my story from first treatment to third treatment. I will get my fourth treatment and final treatment of the every other week, the A portion, because I'm on the AC therapy. So the A portion, I had to do 4 treatments every other week. Next week is my last of that one. So I'd be halfway through with my chemo next week.